The Rigveda, hymn 10.104, Indra, 11 verses. Soma hath flowed for thee, invoked of mat speed to our sacrifice, with both thy coursers. To thee have streamed the songs, our mighty singers, imploring Indra, drink of our libation, drink of the juice which men have washed in waters, and fill thee full, O Lord of tawny horses, O Indra, hearer of the laud, with Soma which stones have mixed for thee, enhance thy rapture, to make thee start a strong, true draught. I offer to thee the bowl, O thou whom bay steeds carry. Here take delight, O Indra, in our voices, while thou art hymned with power, and all our spirit. O mighty Indra, through thine aid, thy prowess, obtaining life, zealous and skilled in order, men in the house who share the sacred banquet stand, singing praise that brings them store of children. Through thy directions, Lord of tawny coursers, thine who art firm, splendid and blessed, the people obtain most liberal aid for their salvation, and praise thee, Indra, through thine excellencies. Lord of the bays, come with thy 2 bay horses, come to our prayers to drink the juice of Soma. To thee comes sacrifice, which thou acceptest. Thou, skilled in holy rites, art he who giveth. Him of 1,000 powers, subduing foemen, Bhagavan praised with hymns, and pleased with Soma. Even him our songs approach. Resistless Indra, the adorations of the singer laud him. The way to bliss for gods and man thou foundest, Indra, 7 lovely floods, divine and trebled, wherewith thou, rending ports, didst move the ocean, and 99 flowing streams of water. Thou from the curse didst free the mighty waters, and as their only god didst watch and guard them. O Indra, cherish evermore thy body with those which thou hast won in quelling Vritra. Heroic power and noble praise is Indra, yea, the song worships him, invoked of many. Vritra he quelled, and gave men room and freedom. Sakra, victorious, hath conquered armies. Call we on Bhagavan, auspicious Indra, best hero in this fight, where spoil is gathered, the strong who listens, who gives aid in battles, who slays the Vritras, wins and gathers riches. And they're using the word gods, which is close, probably closer to the word angels, right? Now, if you treat ultimate God as your only God, there's more favorably of an effect there. And the various light beings and other beings follow suit and take your side. Automatically, you don't have to worship them too. Hymn 10.105, 11 verses. When Vasu wilt, thou love and the laud. Now let the channel bring the stream. The juice is ready to ferment. He whose 2 bay steeds, harnessed well, swerving pursue the bird's tall plumes, with rowing manes like heaven and earth. He is the Lord with power to give, bereft of skill is Indra. If, like some outwearied man, he fears the sinner when the mighty hath prepared himself for victory, Indra with these drives round, until he meets with one to worship him. Indra is master of the pair, who snort and swerve upon their way, borne onward by the long-manned steeds, who stretch themselves as 'twere for food. The god who wears the helm defends them with his jaws. The mighty sang with lofty ones, the hero fashioned with his strength, like skillful Matarispan with his power and might, the bolt which pierced at once the vitals of the Dasu, easy to be slain, with the jaw uninjured, like the wondrous firmament, grind off our sins. With song will we conquer the men who sing no hymns. Not easily art thou pleased with prayerless sacrifice. When threefold flame burns high for thee, to rest on poles a sacrifice, thou with the living joyest in the self-bright ship. Thy glory was the speckled cup, thy glory was the flawless scoop, wherewith thou pourest in thy receptacle, as hundreds, O immortal God, have sung to thee, so hath Smitra, yea, Durmitra, praise thee here. What time thou helpest Kutsa's son, when Dasyus fell, yea, helpest Kutsa's darling, when the Dasyus died. And when we perfect our deeds, that is only a manifestation of God's glory. Hymn 10.106, Asthens. Stanzas 5 to 11 here are borrowed from Wilson's translations, so you are like two to the end. This very thing ye twain hold as your object. Ye weave your songs as skilful men weave garments, that ye may come united. Have I waked you? Ye spread out food like days of lovely weather. Like two plough bulls ye move along in traces, and seek, like eager guests, your bitterest banquet. Ye are like glorious envoys mid the people, like bulls approach the place where ye are watered, like two pinions of a bird, connected like two choice animals. Ye have sought our worship, bright as the fire the votary hath kindled. Ye sacrifice in many a spot as roamers. Ye are our kinsmen, like two sons, two fathers strong in your splendor, and like kings for conquest, like rays for our enjoyment. Lords defeat us, ye, like quick bearers, have obeyed our calling. Ye are like two pleasantly moving, well-fed hills, like Mitra and Varuna, the two bestowers of felicity, voracious possessors of infinite wealth, happy, like two horses plump with fodder. Abiding in the firmament, like two rams are you, to be nourished with sacrificial food, to be cherished with oblations. You are like two mad elephants, bending their forequarters and smiting the foe, like the two sons of Nitosa, destroying foes and cherishing friends. You are bright as two water-borne jewels. Do you, for victorious, render my decaying mortal body free from decay? Fierce Asthens, like two powerful heroes, you enable this moving, perishable mortal frame to cross over to the objects of its destination. As over water, extremely strong, like the Ribus, your chariot attained its destination. Swift as the wind, it pervaded everywhere. It dispensed riches with your bellies full of the soma, like two saucepans, preservers of wealth, destroyers of enemies. You are, armed with hatchets, moving like two flying birds, with forms like the moon, attaining success through the mind, like two laudable beings. You are approaching the sacrifice, like giants. Ye will find firm ground to stand on in depths, like feet for one who fords the shallow. Like cars, ye will attend to him who orders. Ye too enjoy our wondrous work as sharers. Like tolling bees, ye bring to us your honey, as bees into the hide that opens downward. May we increase the laud and gain us vigor. Come to our song, ye whom one chariot carries. Filled be our kine with ripened meat like glory. Butamsa hath fulfilled the aspen's longing. And one may know that I have had creatures that eat bees. One of these creatures is still living in a cage next to a window. And some things we do regardless of the weather or whatever, and other things we do to take advantage of the good weather, rituals included. That's why it's important to try to figure out a way to do some rituals inside and some rituals outside. Hymn 107, Dakshina, 11 verses. These men's great bounty hath been manifested, and the whole world of life set free from darkness. Great life hath come, vouchsafed us by the fathers. Apparent is the spacious path of guerdon. High up in heaven abide the guerdon givers. They who give steeds dwell with the sun forever. They who give gold are blessed with life eternal. They who give robes prolong their lives, O Soma. Not from the Nagards, for they give not freely, comes the meed at sacrifice. God's satisfaction. Yea, many men with hands stretched out with guerdon present their gifts because they dread dishonor. These who observe mankind regard oblation as streamy vahu and light-finding arca. They satisfy and give their gifts in synod and pour in streams the seven-mothered guerdon. He who brings guerdon comes as first invited. Chief of the hamlet comes the guerdon bearer. Him I account the ruler of the people, who was the first to introduce the guerdon. They call him Rishi, Brahman, summoned chanter, reciter of the laud, leader of worship. The brightly shining God's three forms he knoweth, who first bestowed the sacrificial guerdon. Guerdon bestows the horse, bestows the bullock. Guerdon bestows, moreover, gold that glisters. Guerdon gives food, which is our life and spirit. He who is wise takes guerdon for his armor. The liberal die not, never are they ruined. The liberals suffer neither harm nor trouble. The light of heaven, the universe about us. All this doth sacrificial guerdon give them. First have the liberal gained a fragrant dwelling, and got themselves a bride in fair apparel. The liberal have obtained their draught of liquor, and conquered those who unprovoked assailed them. They deck the fleet steed for the bounteous giver. The maid adorns herself and waits to meet him. His home is like a lake with lotus blossoms, like the gods' palaces adorned and splendid. Steeds good at draught convey the liberal giver, and lightly rolling moves the car of guerdon. Assist ye gods the liberal man in battles. The liberal giver conquers foes in combat. Now, generous versus stingy is what we're talking about here. So liberal, we don't mean like the approach to religion, liberal, conservative, reform, fundamentalist. Liberal is somebody who lets go of religious and family values in order, because they personally want something, or whether it's recognition of being a certain way to others, or, their own personal desires. So it's not in that context, and it's not the political thing, which nowadays doesn't make sense. Anyways, hymn 10.108, Sarama Panis. 11 verses. And see, your charity goes on. Your charity increases in ways, What wish of Sarama hath brought her hither? The path leads far away to distant places. What charge hast thou for us? Where turns thy journey? How hast thou made thy way o'er Rasa's waters? I come appointed messenger of Indra, seeking your ample stores of wealth, O Panis. This hath preserved me from the fear of crossing. Thus have I made my way o'er Rasa's waters. What is that Indra like? What is his aspect, whose envoy, Sarama, from afar thou comest? Let him approach, and we will show him friendship. He shall be made the herdsman of our cattle. I know him safe from harm, but he can punish who sent me hither from far as envoy. Him rivers, flowing with deep waters, bide not. Lo will ye be, O Panis, slain by Indra. These are the kind which, Sarama, thou seekest, flying, O blessed one, to the ends of heaven. Who will loose these for thee without a battle? Yea, and sharp-pointed are our warlike weapons. Even if your wicked bodies, O ye Panis, were arrow-proof, your words are weak for wounding, and were the path to you as yet unmastered, Brihaspata in neither case will spare you. Paved with the rock is this our treasure chamber, filled full of precious things, of kine and horses. These Panis, who are watchful keepers, guard it. In vain hast thou approached this lonely station. Rushes will come inspirited with Soma, Angarasas, unwearied, and Nabagvas. This stall of cattle will they part among them. Then will the Panis wish these words unspoken. Even thus, O Sarama, hast thou come hither, forced by celestial might to make the journey. Turn thee not back, for thou shalt be our sister, O blessed one. We will give thee of the cattle, brotherhood, sisterhood, I know not either. The dread Angrasis and Indra know them. They seemed to long for kine when I departed. Hence, into distance be ye gone, O Penis. Here far away, ye, Penis. Let the cattle lowing come forth, as holy law commandeth. Kine which Berhaspata and Soma, wretches, sages, and pressing stones have found when hidden. Now, the herds would sort of migrate to different pastures and stuff as the seasons went on. They knew up in the hills here was nice green at this point, and down here at this other point, or so some of the metaphors and lessons passed on, and early humans, of course, had to move their animals around. Hymn 10, 109, Vedas, 7 verses. These first, the boundless sea, and the Madarastan, fierce glowing fire, the strong, the bliss bestower, and heavenly floods, firstborn by holy order, exclaimed against the outrage on a Brahmin. King Soma, first of all, without reluctance, made restitution of the Brahmin's consort. Mitra and Varuna were the inviters. Agna as Hotar took her hand and led her. The man her pledge must by her hand be taken. When they have cried, she is a Brahmin's consort, she stayed not for a herald to conduct her. Thus is the kingdom of a ruler guarded. Thus spake of her those gods of old, 7 rishis, who sleep them down in their austere devotion. Dire is a Brahmin's wife, led home by others, is the supremest heaven, she plants confusion. The Brahmanachari goes engaged in duty. He is a member of the god's own body. Through him, Brihaspati obtained his consort, as the gods gained the ladle brought by Soma. So then the gods restored her, so men gave the woman back again. The kings who kept their promises restored the Brahmin's wedded wife. Having restored the Brahmin's wife and freed them with God's aid from sin, they shared the fullness of the earth and won themselves extended sway. Now, returning kidnapped wives and children are definitely priorities of reasons, or I mean, they should be priorities or reasons for wars. In the different orders of society are supposed to act as manifestations of deity, much like the different types of animals, so different purposes in the order of nature. 110, a priest, 11 verses. Thou in the house of man this day enkindled worshipest gods as God, O Jatavedas, observant, bright as Mitra, bring them hither, thou art a sapient and foreknowing envoy. Tanunapar, fair-tongued, with sweet meat, balming the paths and ways of order, make them pleasant, convey our sacrifice to heaven, exalting with holy thoughts our hymns of praise and worship, and invoke deserving prayer and adoration, O Agni, come, accordant with Vasus. Thou art, O youthful Lord, the gods' invoker, so best the sacrificers bring them quickly. By rule the sacred grass is scattered eastward, a robe to clothe this earth when dawns are breaking. Widely it spreads around and far extended, fair for the gods and bringing peace and freedom. Let the expansive doors be widely opened, like wives who deck their beauty for their husbands. Lofty, celestial, all-impelling portals, admit the gods and give them easy entrance, pouring sweet dews, let holy night and morning, each close to each. He, seated at their station, lofty celestial dames with gold to deck them, assuming all their fair and radiant beauty, come the 2 first celestial, sweet-voiced Hotars, arranging sacrifice for man to worship, as singers who inspire us in assemblies, showing the eastward light with their direction. Let Bharati come quickly to our worship, and Ella, showing like a human being, so let Sarasvati and both her fellows, deft goddesses, on this fair grass be seated. Hotar, more skilled in sacrifice, bring hither with speed today. God Devashtar, thou who knowest, even him who formed these two, the heaven and earth, the parents, with their forms and every creature, send to our offerings, which thyself thou balmest, the companies of gods in ordered season. Agna, Vanaspata, the immolator, sweeten our offered gift with meat and butter. Agna, as soon as he was born, made ready the sacrifice, and was the god's procedure. May the gods cat our offering, consecrated according to this true priest's voice and guidance. And it's not just that you know, there's a sort of knowing and expressing well. Hymn 10.111, Indra. 10 verses. Bring forth your sacred song, ye prudent singers, even as are the thoughts of human beings. Let us draw Indra with true deeds anear us. He loves our songs, the hero, and is potent. The hymn shone brightly from the seat of worship. To the kine came the bull, the heifer's offspring. With mighty bellowing hath he arisen, and hath pervaded even the spacious regions. Indra knows barely how to hear our singing, for he, victorious, made a path for Surya. He made the cow, and he became the sovereign of heaven, permeable, matchless, and unshaken. Praised by Angarasas, Indra demolished with his might the works of the great watery monster. Full many regions hath he pervaded, and by his truth supported earth's foundation. The counterpart of heaven and earth is Indra. He knoweth all libations, slayeth Sushna, the vast sky with the sun hath he extended, and best of pillars stayed it with the pillar. The Vritra slayer with his bolt felled Vritra, the magic of the godless, waxen mighty. Here hast thou, bold assailant, boldly conquered. Yea, thine arms, O Mankaban, were potent. When the dawns come attendant upon Surya, the rays discover wealth of diverse colors. The star of heaven is seen as 'twere approaching. None knoweth aught of it as it departeth. Far had they gone, the first of all these waters, the waters that flowed forth when Indra sent them. Where is their spring, and where is their foundation? Where now, ye waters, is your inmost center? Thou didst free rivers, swallowed by the dragon, and rapidly they set themselves in motion, those that were loosed, and those that longed for freedom. Excited now to speed they run unresting, yearning together they have sped to Sindhu. The fort destroyer, praised of old, hath loved them. Indra, may thy terrestrial treasures reach us, and our full songs of joy approach thy dwelling. And we talk about God becoming sometimes because God creates the macrocosm and the microcosm. And do we know that the qualities existed before that? And the essence, certainly. And these monster slaying myths, as literally as they can be on the spiritual or other platforms, it's possible that they mean something for us, and that's the primary importance. Hymn 10.112, Indra. 10 verses. Drink of the juice, O Indra, at thy plea. Sure for thy first draught is early morning's libation. Rejoice that thou mayest slay our foes, O hero, and we with lauds will tell thy mighty exploits. Thou hast a car more swift than thought, O Indra, thereon come hither. Come to drink the Soma. Let thy bay steeds, thy stallions, hasten hither, with whom thou comest nigh, and art delighted. Deck out thy body with the fairest colors. With golden splendor of the sun adorned, O Indra, turn thee hitherward, invited by us, thy friends. Be seated and be joyful, O thou whose grandeur in thy festive transports not even these two great worlds have comprehended. Come, Indra, with thy dear bay horses harnessed. Come to our dwelling, and the food thou lovest. Pressed for the joyous banquet is the Soma, whereof thou, Indra, ever drinking, hast waged unequaled battles with thy foemen, which prompts the mighty flow of thine abundance. Found from of old is this thy cup, O Indra, Satakratu, drink therefrom the Soma. Filled is the beaker with the meat that gladdens, the beaker which all deities delight in. From many a side, with proffered entertainment, the folk are calling thee, O mighty Indra. These our libations shall be for thee. Be richest in sweet meat, drink thereof and find them pleasant. I will declare thy deeds of old, O Indra, the mighty acts which thou hast first accomplished. In genuine wrath thou loosenedst the mountain, so that the Brahman easily found the cattle. Lord of the hosts, amid our bands be seated. They call thee greatest sage among the sages. Nothing is done even far away. Without thee, great wondrous Mangavan, is the hymn I sing thee. Aim of our eyes be thou. For we implore thee, O Mangavan, friend of friends, Lord of treasures. Fight, warrior strong in truth. Fight thou the battle. Give us our share of undivided riches. Now, we become the means when we live the principles. When we dedicate our consciousness and our skillful presentation. It's not that deity is hungry or thirsty or bored. It's sort of that we are, but in a way we're giving up on it even when we're taking part in it.